daughter, we have Mrs. Kiara Laurent from Dream Defenders. What's going on?
Hey, what's up, y'all?
Did I pronounce your name correctly?
Kiara
Laurent. I'm sorry.
Yeah, Kiki always call me Kiki.
Kiki, can't go wrong with Kiki, man.
Yeah.
There's Kikis on like every family. There's a Kiki. My little cousin's Kiki, man. So cool.
Where it is.
Can't get that wrong. So Kiara Laurent, Kiki is the communications co-lead here for the Gainesville chapter of Dream Defenders, which is I don't want to say it wrong. It's you call it Godsville.
We call it Godsville. Yeah.
I like that, man. I really do, man.
We in charge.
That's what I'm talking about. So let's talk first a little bit briefly about yourself. I don't know if you local, you grew up around here? Or?
No idea, but I grew up in Florida. So.
Nice. So, this is something I was wondering. Have you always had like a heart for outreach and activism, or how'd that start? What's the backstory there?
I mean, just knowing like the struggles, like as a black woman growing up, and like the adversities that I deal with, I just learned like this is not a world I want to live in or have anyone else live in. So like, when I was younger, it was just like, oh, I'm interested in these things. I want to do criminal justice, but then realizing the system is not for us.
Yeah,
I want to work outside of it and build a structure that could just have liberation for all people. So, coming to college and like actually being able to like go to these things and be educated. I just want to be a part of the work rather than sit on the sideline.
Nice. And I mean, I do believe like we need people to do all that work, you know what I mean? But it's definitely awesome that you have a direct path that you want to take. So before arriving in here for college, I assume you came here for, did you do any kind of activist work, community work back home, or any organizations or stuff you need to shout out?
I wish. I was a part of like NAACP in high school.
Nice.
I feel like I was limited because like my mother was a single mother, so like I had to go to work and help out with the bills and everything. Right. So just like wanted to get into college, but also having to help support my family. I wasn't able to do like extracurriculars, but I just knew like where my heart was at.
Well, I just say that's so awesome because now look, man, you're here now, you're making the most of it, so that's awesome. It's not like there's like a deadline or anything.
No, there isn't.
So awesome, man. So let's talk a little bit about Dream Defenders. Now, I know a little bit about them, but for the people that haven't heard of them or don't know the backstory, how they got started, can you kind of talk about that a little bit?
Of course. So like Dream Defenders was started after the murder of Trayvon Martin in 2012. Young Black and brown individuals from across Florida went to the state capitol and demanded justice.
I remember that.
And unfortunately, since George Zimmerman was acquitted, this didn't like stop our work, but also just motivated to just realize like this system wasn't meant for us. It was created against us, and we want to build structure and community where we don't have to rely on these systems that continue to abuse, harm, and brutalize the communities. So all across Florida, we have like over 10 squads from Miami all the way to Tallahassee.
Nice.
And we're just building structures against prisons and police. So we're abolitionists. We're building structures that put people first rather than last. So we're socialists. And we're also internationalists. We stand with all different people all across the globe. And we are Black feminists, which is very important because intersectionality and respecting identity is like 100% like our thing.
That's real. And I love that the multifaceted direction that you guys are going. It's not just one thing. You guys kind of cover everything, a lot of bases and a lot of different points of view. Mm-hmm. So I really appreciate that because I mean, as we all know, our sisters a lot of times are the least protected. So we definitely want to commend you guys for that doing that work.
I think like we want to have our spaces led by Black women and like honor like the work that we put into like everything that we do. We're always often overlooked in things that we do, like in the whole system. Even with Black men, we're always overlooked. So we want to put ourselves front and center, like let's lead this movement.
Awesome, man. We can't do it without you guys.
No.
Let's talk a little bit about. We'll start right here real quick to talk about how I know there may be some people watching the video or listening on over the air that just want to know how to access you guys, how they can help. So first, let's start off with social media handles. I want to definitely do that throughout the show.
Yeah.
So start there.
So you just like go on Facebook and look up Godsville Dream Defenders. That's GODDSVILLE Dream Defenders. And also on Instagram, it's Godsville DD. So it's going to be GODDSVILLEDD.
Nice.
So we're on those, and we're also on Twitter. Do I remember the Twitter handle? No.
It's all right, but if you find the other ones, you'll find the Twitter.
Exactly. You'll definitely like see us connected.
Yeah.
If you send us a message, you want to be a part of like the work. We're always posting things that's going on in the community or what we're doing. So just to be informed, definitely come to our events and definitely like keep an eye out and just like an open ear. But we're always posting. We always have emails coming out. So if you want to be a part of the email list, we also have that too.
Awesome.
So just message us and we'll get situated.
Cool. And Kiki ain't gonna say it, but I say it. If you can't get around to doing those things, hit the Cash App up. It is $GODDSVILLE. I mean, because every dime helps, man. So, just if you can't make it out, that's a good way to help as well. Let's move on to. Now, I want to kind of ask. Always talk about the guy that works at Taco Bell. So, but just as a regular citizen, the guy that works at Taco Bell, he's listening to this right now. How can he help? Aside from surfing on the web or joining the mail list, are there things that we can do? Because I was reading the website and you guys talked a lot about dismantling institutions. Mm-hmm. So the average person, I mean, you might feel like they're, they might feel like they're just individual and not able to, you know what I'm saying? So are there things that we can do in our everyday life to kind of come together here?
Yeah, and I think that's the misconception that we always get is that we don't have the power.
Right.
That's the problem because they make these systems so they make people feel like they don't have it.
Right.
And even just like this year and just how people have been mobilizing, it shows that we do have the power.
Right.
Like, it should be us before money. It should be us before anything else. So the first thing I would tell them, like, you have the power. Like, you always had it. You just have to like realize that the fire is within you.
Right.
And I was just telling like the first things first, educate. Like read. I know a lot of times we go straight to social media and start scrolling. Well, take a minute and go read an article about like what is the prison industrial complex? What is what's going on in like your communities? Because like even people don't know about like just like elections coming up. Like we knew about the national election.
Right.
We knew about the primaries of what's happening in our city. So like staying informed, having conversations after you're informed or even before you're informed, like, hey, like talk to someone like, you heard about abolition and start talking to them like, this is what I feel, and then like having conversations because we like to keep these taboo subjects away from the dinner table when they should be on the top. Like, how should we like educate our children and educate each other about like what's really going on? So I always say education, communication, and if you have like the energy or time, I know like capitalism is a thing and we all have to be working, so you can't always attend every protest or action or anything, but you can just email like state legislators, email your city or county administrators and just tell them like this is what's going on. Call in, attend your city council meetings, like commissioner meetings, because there's a lot of things that happen there that go overlooked because people may feel like they don't have the say so or don't have the time. Like, take away from social media and like invest in your community. Right,
because that local government, that's going to really affect you a lot of times.
Directly more than a national election or even, I mean, state election, yes, but national you don't get as much affected as a city election or a county election.
Right. I'm with you on that, man. Now I was kind of perusing your website, the Gainesville Dream Defenders website, and there was something I wanted to, you guys had a few initiatives or things that you guys were doing. One of the things I noticed and I wanted to ask you guys about was your focus on hold UF accountable. Mm-hmm. What's that all about?
So right now there is an issue with UF. Well, there's always an issue with UF.
Say that.
Especially for Black people like us.
Yeah.
So with our food service provider, Airmark, they use prison labor for their production, and they also abuse student workers and food workers. And what we're trying to do is have UF not sign the contract again to have them in our on our campus. And so that fight is to basically kick out Airmark unless they comply to our demands, which is like $15 an hour, ethical work treatments, and basically treating people with the humanity that they deserve because they are working hard. And just getting away from prison labor because that itself is very problematic
Yeah,
and very toxic.
it's what is this, the 21st century?
Yeah,
It doesn't seem like there's still something that would even exist. It's talk a little bit about not just not talk about. You just mentioned that you guys want to get the pay up to $15 an hour. I was reading something the other day. It was saying that like no student can work at minimum wage and pay their way to through school anymore. Like that's a thing of the past. Like our parents used to can like work, go to school, and still pay for school while but that's over with. Talk a little bit about as briefly as you can, and I know this might not be much of a dream defender's question, but talk a little bit about the living wage, man. Is that okay? I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. Like
I'm sorry about that.
As we're working towards racial and economic justice in Florida,
okay,
and that starts all by paying people what they need to survive and what they deserve, because we have so many people living underneath the poverty line, and that's mostly like black people.
Right.
And it's not easy anymore to work a $9 job or $10
nice.
job and pay bills. I'm struggling now.
Right, it's not a lot of money.
Exactly. And so, like, if I'm struggling, imagine the mother, the father, or the guardian who cannot provide for their children. So, like, living wage isn't about just like, oh, that's more money you're getting away from the business. Imagine, like, you are helping someone being able to live their life fully without stressing about work, living paycheck to paycheck,
right.
That, taking away the aspect of money and realizing people deserve to live to fullest potential in their fullest lives, away from feeling like they're worth something based on the dollar value.
Right.
That is so necessary.
Right. I mean, it'll be a big relief. I mean, now for holding UF accountable, have you guys made any headway?
Oh my, did we? We have people from FSU who's interested, USF.
Nice.
We had people from Boston,
wow.
from Alabama. So like we were working with NAACP with making this a national campaign where it's not only divesting from like Airmark, but also any other food service providers who are using unjust labor practices,
right.
and therefore putting forth ethical treatment.
That's real, man. I asked you earlier about your social media stuff, but I'm assuming that in order to get in on helping this cause or furthering along, we can go to your website or Facebook for Hold UF Accountable if you want to help.
We have another Instagram called Food Justice at UF.
Okay.
I believe so. If not, you can find it through our Dream Defender page. But you can go there to get more information,
nice. Awesome.
Or go to our link tree, which is Hold UF Accountable.
And I'm sorry to bother you again, but let's get those social media handles again.
Yes, Godsville, GODDSVILLDD. That's for our Instagram, and you can look up Godsville Dream Defenders for our Facebook.
Nice. Now let's talk a little bit about our interesting. I'd use. Governor, Mr. Ron DeSantis, and the new anti-protest bill. Can you first describe it?
Yes.
Exactly what it is, and then talk about why it's problematic.
So the anti-protest legislation is basically, honestly, a violation to our First Amendment as people. Being able to practice our freedom of speech and our freedom of protest. This bill basically puts a lot of criminalization for those who go out into like protesting, and even they could use this bill to even extend that and go beyond. Like if anyone's like having some type of gathering or like maybe blocking some type of road, they can potentially create it to be like some type of protest.
So I can storm the Capitol dressed as a Viking, and take the podium and do other crazy, unspeakable things I don't even want to say. But in Florida, I have issues just peacefully protesting, which is our First Amendment right.
This is basically a racist bill. This was literally created after the whole movement and uprisings in the summer, and it comes to show really how they're feeling, because this bill takes away opportunity for city and counties to defund from the police or have those initiatives, and basically the state can stop that, or can say, well, we're not going to fund you if you're going to defund like the police. So there's a lot of ways where this bill basically keeps us from continuing our work, and also like keeps us from showing support to a cause that's necessarily not a cause, but like a movement, and the fact that Black Lives Matter is not a political statement, but it's a human, like,
right?
A human,
Yeah.
like declare. Like,
It's so frustrating describing that.
Yeah.
Oh man, that is so crazy. I just gave up, man. Like, all right, you got it, man.
I mean, years ago, Black Lives Matter was like, oh, Black Lives Matter. It's like,
Yeah.
All Lives Matter. And now it's like, Black Lives Matter. It's like, oh my gosh. Like,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm like, whoa, that's not what it is.
It's so crazy, man.
It's not what it is.
I'm assuming the same way. We want to help with the DeSantis anti-protest bill. Probably be best to contact local government. Call as a citizen. Now I know that you're not from the area. But I want you to kind of speak about this through you're the communications co-lead of Dream Defenders. Talk a little bit about specific issues, Gainesville and Florida at large, that people might not be aware of, or things like that. Maybe it's things you notice or whatever.
Yeah, in Gainesville specifically, just even though UF is, seem to be, a prestigious university, they are directly and indirectly attacking our communities. We have many instances of gentrification happening in Gainesville.
Rapidly.
Everyone likes to just mention Seminary Lane, but there's many other Black communities, Duval, Sugar Hill, Poyers are constantly being tried to be gentrified or just pushing to be gentrified. As you can see, demographics in Gainesville, the Black communities are like towards the east side of Gainesville. We're currently being pushed. They're currently being pushed over there with the lack of like resources. We have food deserts over there. Lack of necessity, like access to necessities. So we see gentrification being a huge issue, and of course like houselessness in Gainesville is really bad. As you can tell, like every corner, you see a houseless person, and it's easy. It's really simple to fund homes and fund access to free food and everything, but of course, with money first, this is not an idea for our city. So we are, as junior defenders, we see these issues of like, okay, yes, these college students may be here, and I was a college student too, and learning like, okay, seeing how my impact, I learned now, like I had to inform other students and other people like what we're doing when we come into these spaces. Like, this is like, we may be here for a couple years, but these people are living here for life. And that's why when I hear like their stories, I really want to prioritize their voices rather than my own. So like working towards like affordable housing, working towards helping at the education system, where towards like schools that have like primarily Black students may not get better resources, and money, and funding.
Equity.
Exactly, it's equity and equality. So one thing that we try to do is really put a fire underneath UF and show them like, you may be like top 6 university, but you are so toxic to the Gainesville community.
Yeah. Well, there's actually a history of that, and there's even a history of deliberate separation of the Black students from the Black community. And I didn't even know that was a real thing until learning that from older UF grads, and that's been going on for a while. So it's just, I just really want to give you guys support and praise for doing that work, because we definitely need that help. Let's talk a little bit about, I was on the national website, and there was a notice that came up, and it mentioned defunding the police. Talk about that term. Talk about how, because the right is really good at messaging, man. Yes. They're good at it. Yeah. I was even going to have you talk about you saying that you guys are a socialist organization, and I've had socialists on the show before, and we talked about the same thing, just about them making these terms like the boogeyman. When everybody's grandmother gets Social Security though. But then but if you say that you're a socialist company, it's somehow like frightening or whatever. So talk a little bit about defunding the police, what it really is, what it really aims to do. Take it away.
Yeah, I mean, American media is so. I give them credit because they're able to really flip the script.
Yes, they are.
I mean, if you think about like the Cold War, like even just like about communism, you see how they flip the script, how they can change something to make it very scary and dangerous and fearful for American people. And defunding the police is one thing that they trying to do, to like change the script, change the message. But defunding the police is literally, honestly, it is what it is. It's taking money away from these police departments and putting them and investing into our communities where we have restorative community programs, like having access to mental health facilities, having like a mental health like responder during crisis versus assuming like bad intentions. Like you heard, I'm not sure if you know about Robert Detman.
Yeah.
Years ago, of him being 16 years old, having a mental crisis, and instead of responding with a mental health responder, we responded with ASO and resulted in a black young man dying.
Sheesh.
It's literally that simple. It's happening in our communities, and yet we just only think about like Breonna Taylor, George Floyd, but it's happening in Gainesville.
That's crazy, and it's sad because it's not a rarity. It's not something that it only happens one time. It's not an anomaly. So I want to talk a little bit about your position as the Dream Defenders. One thing, I'll be honest, man, I usually wouldn't even say this, but I got to be honest. One thing I was impressed by with you guys when I first met, when I first heard of you guys and interacted with you, was you guys have a very strict policy when it comes to working with police or being around police. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yes. We are abolitionists, and we truly believe that our world could be better without police from prisons, because police was created to be slave catchers. They were created
property protectors.
Yep, to protect property, and slaves at the time were property.
And they absolutely, yep.
And all it does is the system keeps performing, but around the same subject, same notion. And so, like, as Dream Defenders, like, when you're put into that system, even though yes, like you are a person, I'm not gonna take that away from you. You're like humanity, and that's
absolutely
totally okay. But just also realizing like the system that you are working with and how it attacks like your communities and how it attacks like even your friends, your family. Because yes, you may have the discretion, but you also have to abide by the law. That is your job, and we totally understand that people do need to pay their bills, and like that's how they see to protect the community.
I like that.
But we also have to realize like the actual consequences that come from this position,
Yeah. I mean, I love it. I mean, it's just the fact that I only want to put y'all in that position. Peace. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
I'm with you on that. And I think that's an effective strategy there. Mm-hmm. I want to kind of give you the floor to kind of just make your case to the people, or shout outs, or whatever you want to talk about the last 10 minutes here.
Yeah, I mean, as Dream Defenders, we really want to implement grassroots organizing, and that means like taking the community's needs and putting them at the forefront of everything that we do. Mm-hmm. And since the beginning of time, we have Freedom Papers, which I suggest everyone go read. It's on our website, dreamdefenders.org. You go to Freedom Papers, and it's basically a living literature of what we see the freer Florida to look like. And we went to communities and asked them, what do you want to see in Florida? And we made our freedom papers. We have freedom from poverty, freedom from police improvements, freedom of mind, which just talks about how our education system is failing our children, and how we want our education system to expand imagination rather than decrease it, So I recommend everyone read it. It's a beautiful piece of literature, and we always revise it to reflect what the community wants.
Wow. Okay, cool.
So what we really want is to reflect what Gainesville want, and that's why we always try to reach out to the community and really try to get into where the people are at, the people who are really being affected.
Right.
And like, what do you need?
I love that.
So we really work on those efforts. So if you are we have like so many like teach-ins and calls. So we ask, of course, if you have the time and the energy to come on these calls, express your concerns, your questions, and let us know, because if we don't know, it's basically blind sight. But at the same time, we're trying to reach out to them and get that communication. So I personally try to talk to community members and ask them like what's going on, and like talk to community leaders, because we have great people doing the work, and of course they should be at the forefront, and we're just supporting their work. And that's usually what we do. We we always have our names on things like Godsville, but I honestly say like it's community members and community leaders who help put all this together, and we're just supporting them and backing them up.
I love that.
So, and as it should be, So,
yes, ma'am.
We just want them to come out to these events and express their concerns, because a lot of things happen where we get this miscommunication, there's like misinterpretation of what our message is.
Yeah.
And we want to make sure it's clear that we're for the people. We're not trying to harm them or work against them in any way.
Right, and I love that. Instead of just assuming, just come out and see for yourself. I mean, you guys, I can say firsthand, you guys definitely won't disappoint. Again, I definitely want to shout out the Cash App to donate and help push forward all the efforts. It is $GODDSVILLE. And for the last time, I know I keep bothering you. Social media handles.
Yes, social media, Godsville, GODDSVILLEDD. That's Instagram, and Godsville Dream Defenders for our Facebook. And I want to say, if you do donate to our Cash App, and if you put the words aftercare, this money will be put towards the bail fund, the 352 Freedom Fund, where we're bailing and bonding out folks from the Alachua County Jail.
Wow, okay.
And we're also taking care of them afterwards and helping them re-enter basically their lifestyle again. And, just because we know COVID is a thing, people are being affected every day by it. And just being in a jail cell with someone you don't know, and it's like the risk of people not even knowing if they're immune compromised, and if their risk is higher being in that cell, and just realizing that they're caregivers, they're also taking care of their family, and they deserve to be with their family, So we want to free these people, free our people, and bring them back home. So please put aftercare, because we want more money towards that, so we can keep taking care of them, because everyone deserves chances and deserves compassion.
Right. Hey, shout out to y'all. I pledged $20, man. I got to after saying that. But hey, man, you're the shit, man. And thanks for what you guys do on behalf of the community. I just think what you guys do is awesome. You definitely got a home here. If you guys ever doing anything, please let us know. We'll definitely try to help as much as possible.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Before I plug something in real quick?
Please do.
We have a march this weekend. It is February 20th at 12 p.m. It's going to start at the Rights. This march is Black History Month march that's put on with Godsville and the Black History Cabinet of BSU at UF.
Okay.
And what we're trying to do is really inform students of the space they take up in Black History in Gainesville. So this will be a march throughout Gainesville. So I really hope you attend. Everyone will be wearing masks. It will be social distancing, and we'll make sure everyone's safe, of course. But this is very important that community also comes out, because we want to give them the forefront, hey, what's been going on? Because I'm not sure if anyone went to Seminary Lane March, but I learned so much about gentrification here in Gainesville. And I think we should continue that movement of educating people, so therefore we are not remaking the mistakes that were made in the past. So,
I love that, man. Please come out. Hey, I got Miss Kiara Kiki Laurent in the building with Dream Defenders, man. Co-communications kid, co-lead of the communications. And hey, thanks for coming through here on FloridaHipHopRadio.com. We're going to go into some music, y'all. Y'all keep it locked right here on Florida Hip Hop Radio. Oh, thank you. Thank you so much, man.